This episode is on tape. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul. And it's time for our very special hellos. Hello to Rosia, Ron Martin, Stan Starr, Patricia, Lux Furlong, John Malillo, Lee, Ed Katzovision, Bob, Einstein, Ruby, and Queenie, Mark Williams, Jerome Luby, Sideshow Tink, Craig the Record King, and Elena, Jerome Luby, Matthew Street, Joe Mayo, Paul Waters, Beetle Brad, and Buddy the Dog, Mikey Arugula, and Lee. Now, if you would like a special hello, if you'd like to dedicate one to someone special in your life, just leave it in the comments below, and we'll say hello in a future episode. And that's our very special hellos for today. Well, as we warm our hands over the fireplace, we thought we'd have a Playhouse fireside chat. So before we start our excursion into the world of different audio tapes, we thought we'd play and demonstrate a nice record drop on the often talked about here at the Playhouse, the Sears solid state turntable. Now, modern turntables don't do this anymore, and we've talked about many times about moving tone arms. So we're just going to show you here. We've got a few 45 singles here. Here we go. So they're going to drop, and then the moving tone arm is placed on 7-inch, and there we go. There's a nice roaring fire. Sometimes if you have a noisy record and you hear that crinkling, it reminds me of the fire here that we have during our Playhouse fireside chat. All right, now, reel-to-reel tapes gained first commercialization in 1948 by the Ampex company. And so by the 1960s, they had the reel-to-reel machine that people could buy to play tapes. And here's a great demonstration of what a reel-to-reel tape looks like. This is Sgt. Pepper, of course. And we don't have it's one of the few machines that we don't have here in the Playhouse to demonstrate an actual working reel-to-reel. But the only problem also is you had to cut off the beginning. Every time you would thread your reel-to-reel, you'd have to cut off a little bit of the tape. So if you played it too many times, you'd actually start playing into the music, even though they had something called a leader that would be threaded onto the beginning of the tape before you would really hear any music. Now, by today's collecting standards, of course with the Beatles, these are very high priced. We don't talk about price in the Playhouse very often, but these are extremely getting difficult to find at collector shows, especially with the Beatles. You could find other artists. So we have Rubber Soul here, and of course, as with anything, it's all about condition, condition, condition. See, these actually were played a lot, but I'm sure we found them 30 years ago at a garage sale, and it's just fun to have. Now, the more popular 8-track program started in 1964, and they had 4 programs. And here's our assortment of 8 tracks that we want to show you here at the Playhouse. Fun Beatle ones. And yes. So we have same thing. Here we have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's a capital 8-track stereo. Actually, and then we have Abbey Road. That was Let It Be. Now these had come in a nice, what they call clamshell. But what I love about this Let It Be one, it has the red apple that was used on the American version of Let It Be. Because in the other parts of the world and in England, the apple was green, but they used the red one here. And we have the deluxe Beatles 1967 to 1970, known sometimes as the Blue Album. And there's, of course, this was a double album set when you bought it, so it also had to fit on 2 different 8-track tapes. This is an odd one. We have John and Yoko's Two Virgins on, now this is a reissue of it. I think it came out in the early 1970s on Orbit 8-tracks. And I don't know, should we attempt to play this? Because the old Sears Solid State does have a working 8-track. So I thought maybe, again, because I don't think that'll hurt copyright reasons, we could try and play, because there's no actual music on John and Yoko's Two Virgins. So let's switch this over to tape, and let's see what happens. Alright, there it is. That really is John and Yoko's Two Virgins playing on the old 8-track tape. Alright, well, I'm glad it worked. See, now we demonstrated an actual 8-track tape player working on the old Sears Solid State. We love this record player, and it's about to do another needle drop, another fall. Here we go. There's the record. So it's right, it knows exactly where to go. I feel bad for people that have modern record players, because every time the side of the music stops, you have to get up. Turn it over here, and you could just put it on for an hour. Alright, and then of course we forgot, we have the Concert of Bangladesh. Now cassette, the 8-tracks are very easy to find, and they're extremely economical to collect. But the problem is, of course, there's always a downside. That's why it's economically easy to collect them. Now, see, now I should say that these were, I'm very proud of these because they actually weren't played very much. They were my mom's. She loved the Beatles, but see how clean this label is on the 8-track. See, that's what actually, why, if you are going to have to pay more money on the secondary market when you find an 8-track or you're trying to collect 8-tracks, you want them to be this clean. The problem what happens, now I don't think I have one that's really that bad, but probably these two. When you put it in the 8-track player, of all players, there's heat. And it raises the label. So then the label starts to get bubbles on it. So that's why the majority of overly played 8-tracks that you find on the secondary market, and that's why they're generally only $4 or $5 when you find them, is because they're kind of beat up. Because they were played a lot, and the heat automatically lifted up the label. All right, we're going to move on to a very odd format that didn't last very long, and that's called play tapes. And they're 1/8 inch tapes that were introduced in 1966, and they had an exclusive player. It's basically an 8-track, only it's a 2-track. This didn't catch on, but this Play Tape Corporation, which were the only manufacturers to create this tape machine, it didn't catch on. And these, oh, a lot of heat. You don't find these very in good condition. But this is a play tape machine, and this is what a play tape looks like. Okay, here's the Beatles' Rubber Soul. Now these could only contain 4 songs, and it's also fun because on a lot of these, they produce them so fast that they have the wrong title of the Beatles song on it. I'm sure we have a mistake, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I'm sure. But this is a nice clean one of the Beatles' Rubber Soul, just 4 selections. And you'd pop it in to the side here. Looks like an 8-track. And then just the speaker here, hit program 1 or program 2 to hear 2 songs at a time. So this format did not last very long, and is also highly collected because they didn't sell very well. So you don't find them very often. I want to see if I can find, now the White Album, the Beatles, again released in 1968, how they ever decided to put out the White Album on these little play tapes, because you know it's a double album by the Beatles, there's so many songs, and they can only put 4 songs on each play tape. So that's why they did them in volumes here. Volume 3 and Volume 4. So this one contains Birthday, Mother Nature's Son, Honey Pie, Savoy Truffle. And of course this one has Dear Prudence, Piggies, The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill and Julia. I know I had one that had a mistake on it. Oh, here it is. Okay, but here's Magical Mystery Tour as a play tape. Now this is a nice one because it's never been opened. So this is the most collectible one, at least of the ones that the Playhouse has. So here's the Beatles Revolver, 4 selections from Revolver. But on the first one here, it says All the Lonely People, instead of the actual title of Eleanor Rigby. So that's what makes this highly fun. All the Lonely People. All right, we'll just figure, what's the name of that song? I just said All the Lonely People. So all right, then we'll make that the title. And then she said, Yellow Submarine and Good Day Sunshine. It's a fun thing to collect. You don't see the players very often, but when you do, they're not that difficult. I said we don't talk about price that much in the Playhouse, but it's an economical thing. It's fun to have at least a few of them or a sample. And so now we're going to move on to the most popular format that they're still making to this day, and of course that's the cassettes. Now, the cassette tapes were designed by the Philips Company in there's the solid state shutting off, in 1962, and overseas in about 1964, cassette tapes started being manufactured and sold in the United States. And cassettes, they're just a lot of fun. They're collectible. Now we have an example, nice player machine here. This is a 1970s model that plays by Panasonic, that plays cassette tapes. Portable one, nice and fun. You hit the eject here, put your tape in here, close it. You can also record. You see, what also made cassette tapes very popular, even though you can record on 8 tracks as well, but you could buy blank cassettes and make your own recordings. There's a microphone built in to this little cassette player. So if you wanted to hear yourself sing or make a tape, you could. So we're going to show you some fast ones. We have a myriad of cassettes here. Of course, the Beatles. Now we just showed you the 8-track of 67 to 70, the Blue Album. Now this is the red counterpart on cassette of 62 to 66. These are still sealed. And of course, same thing because it was a double album, so it had to be on 2 tapes. I'm going to try to show you the ones that we just showed you on 8-track as well. Here's, of course, Let It Be, which is nice on Capitol. See if we some older ones. Of course, we love Hey Jude. We talk about this album all the time. Fun compilation that was put out after the Beatles separated, 1970, also known as The Beatles Again. It had 2 titles, but this is as Hey Jude. The first time Hey Jude appeared on a Beatles album. A lot of people think that Hey Jude was on a Beatles album, but it was not. It was just a single, the first Apple single. Of course, Yesterday and Today. No butcher cover was ever issued with a cassette. We're going to be talking about the famous Beatles Yesterday and Today and the butcher cover in a future Playhouse episode. I'm going to show you some odd fun ones here. Yeah, see, now we got Ringo Starr's Stop and Smell the Roses on cassette. We know Ringo has reissued this album many, many times, but it's nice to have the cassette version of it. And then we have the Beatlemania original cast album from Arista Records on cassette in 1978. And of course, how could we not have the Peter Frampton Bee Gee movie, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, on a cassette. George Burns was also in that movie. And McCartney 2. And we have here are the Chipmunks Sing the Beatles on cassette. This is a fun one. That's a great little cartoon illustration of the Chipmunks dressed as the Beatles with Dave Seville there leading the group. Well, cassettes are a lot of fun to collect, and again, all formats of tape are a rather economical way to find them on the secondary market, or if you're at a garage sale or a flea market. It's a fun thing to pick up and just start collecting them. You know, you can never actually be a completist and have every cassette that came out or every 8-track of something. But it's nice to have a few in your collection. And now it's time to check the comments bowl. And if you want to be in the comments bowl, so all you have to do is please leave us a comment. And this is selected at random. And this is about episode 7. Out to lunch with the Beatles. Open your lunchbox. And member Sideshow Tink commented, all the lunchboxes are incredible. The Munsters have been me away. Blew me away. Munsters blew Sideshow Tink away. Well, thank you, Sideshow Tink. I couldn't read my own handwriting. And if you want to be in the comments bowl, well, it's simple. That's all you have to do is leave us a comment, and while you're at it, please subscribe. It's always free here. And hit the like, comment, and share the Playhouse. We greatly appreciate it as the Playhouse continues to grow. And for now, though, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.